Hey, Eric, though, bro. I'm not even gonna hold you. You know what I can't stand the most?
What's that?
A lot of shit in life.
What's that?
Honestly, well, motherfuckers don't finish the job.
Yeah. Yeah. Like they start something and then that's it. You know what I'm saying? It's like halfway kind of, you know what I'm saying, notions to it. It doesn't get done, but they said it as if it was a sure fact.
Fact.
Or they enter the task, agree with the task as if it was a sure fact.
But though, what's fucking popping? Right now, I think it's about, did we get to noon? Yo, we didn't even get to noon yet.
We had a crazy
crazy.
full morning.
That's crazy.
Like a full, it felt like a full day.
A full fucking day. But what's up with everybody? Everybody, welcome back. You already know, it's Faxtz of Life, the podcast. You feel me? Faxtz of Life, the podcast.
Season number.
You know what I'm saying? Season number.
That's
season number 2. With it.
Type shit.
Yo, definitely. And welcome fucking back to all of the listeners, everybody that we got going on here. This is the first time we break it to y'all like this. This is different. This is different. This is going to be.
You can see us. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Can you see me? We know you can hear me.
So
but
before,
can you see me?
Before it was just, you know,
so different,
you was probably trying to imagine what we look like.
Yeah, so it's like, this is us.
Like,
this is
put the voice to the face. Like,
this is your homie Dave.
Be lying, baby.
Be lying, you know, my man.
Boot Camp Brian,
or Mr. Boot Camp himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, yo, like, I miss y'all. Like, I don't know, B. What's up? I miss them. I miss them.
It's been a lovely 3 weeks, but I definitely miss doing this, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's something special about this, man. Like, you know, you started something special. I'm happy to be a part of it. Happy to get another round, you know what I'm saying, another season with us. And I think we underestimate the importance it is to speak and listen. Everybody need that. That's why we really want your input, you know what I'm saying? So make sure I drop them comments and stuff, because as much as we speaking and y'all get to listen, we want to make sure we can read what y'all input is so that we can listen too, because then, you know what I'm saying? Because then we can better serve each other. Because this is a two-way street here. Like, we only talk about things that we've experienced as facts of our lives. And, you know, everybody has their go-throughs. So, you know what I'm saying? So what they go through is not necessarily what I go through.
That part.
But we both got our go-throughs. You know what I'm saying? And so there's no need to compare suffrages. It's like, yo, the fact that we all going through something, we can all help.
That part.
You know, each one is each one.
Which is why we always ask, like, you know, how you feeling? You know?
Wonderful.
Or how are you? Like, you know, when we say how are you? How you feeling? Like, it's no longer just a high space. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
I like to call it high space.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're taking new words, and instead of just saying hi, which is so simple. Because hi is just hi. In response, I'm just hi. I'm not expecting any. Once you say, how are you?
Yeah.
It's like, well, you asked me a question. You didn't give me a statement.
Now, here's the thing about that too, because it's so funny how that coincides with today's topic. They say, because what you just said there is very true, but it's important to finish that job. And what I mean is, like, be an active listener, right? Like, there's so many people who will be like, "What's up? How you doing?" And then,
but they don't stop. They just keep going.
Yeah, that's it.
That's a hi. They didn't say it was high.
They 7 steps down the road. I'm not mad at them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm sure I might have been guilty of it too. We all have our lives and we all, you know, move through it.
That joke's spicy. I ain't gonna hold you. Go ahead though.
You know, we gotta move through it. We move through our days, and so sometimes we just, you know, we do it like you said. It's just a common response, like, "Hey, how you doing?" You know. But when we finish that job, you know, you never know what you can learn. You know, you gotta understand that reality is made from multiple people's layers, right? Your layer of reality, my layer of reality, and we come together. So, you know, you never know what you can learn from somebody just from asking that question.
Yeah, no, I don't, and that's what I'm saying. I don't mind asking that question.
But
my thing is, you gotta listen. It can't be a high, because high. All we expect when someone says hi, we just expect hi. Yeah. We don't expect any further. Yeah. But once you say how you doing, or how you feeling, it's like, why ask if you're not going to stick around for the time and then figure out how I'm doing or whatever the question is, you know what I mean? But I do want to get into that for you. So it's like, how you feeling?
Oh, me, I'm wonderful, man. Beautiful. Better than yesterday, worse than tomorrow is the slogan. and I live by it. You know, I mean, I'm just happy. I'm happy every morning. The sunrise gives me confidence. You know what I'm saying? It's another chance to do it all over again, and that's all I need for real. I mean, I remember it wasn't always like that, but I'm glad that I'm grateful that I'm at the mental space right now where my life is just like the day is really an accomplishment. It's a win. It's like, oh, I'm up. I get to further myself. I get to do more. But how are you? How you doing? Yeah.
Besides hitting that thing, and that joint hitting me a little pop. Honestly, for real, man. Honestly, man, I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling fantastic. Still too early for any complaints. You feel me?
Right.
And it's like, I'm going to make sure I get that to y'all more and more, because it's like, that's something I say all day, every day, especially when I'm at work. So I got to learn.
About it too early for being
Still too early for any complaints. You know what I mean?
That's a powerful statement.
It's exactly. And a lot of people say, and I literally say that. I say that to every table. Now, every table I say, that I either wait for them to ask me how I'm doing, or ask them, how are you? You feel me? But I wait for a response for them to tell me how they feeling. You feel me? Because it's going to teach me a lot. Like, you know what I mean?
And the tone of their voice.
Yeah, teach me a lot
their
about
body
what I'm
language.
doing.
You know, you ever seen somebody when you at the table, you ask how they doing, and someone goes, I'm doing good with this.
Yeah.
I'm doing good. It's like,
I let them know that I saw that.
That body language is telling me that you ain't doing all that, bro.
At all. And it's like, it's like, also, bro, like, not to cut you off from there, but like to finish out what I was saying, like, what I mean by that, and a lot of times, some people, what happens is, see how you chuckle? That's what always happens. So it's the easiest icebreaker to get someone to do. The hardest thing to make someone do sometimes is to make someone smile, laugh. Once I already made you laugh, you already like me, because I made you.
To be honest, that's my goal in every interaction I have with any human being, is to at least get a smile. You know,
one time, I don't even care if it's once. Like, you feel me?
Yeah.
But it's like, as long as I can make you have a reaction. So it's like, and then sometimes I get people that say this,
positive energy.
I get,
I want it to be contagious.
Yeah, exactly. And smiles are contagious.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So it's
and
like,
they free.
And they free as fuck.
It makes me feel good.
A lot of times people are like, I don't know. I thought I got a couple of things I could say. So I got something for that too, though.
Comeback.
You know what I say?
What's the comeback?
My rebuttal. That's what we call it, right? A rebuttal. My rebuttal is, definitely feel you. But the way I see it is, once we start complaining, we never want to stop. So if we don't worry about starting, we don't got to worry about stopping.
Of course, because thoughts are magnetic.
And they be like, oh, and I say this at 10 o'clock at night. I say this at 6 a.m.
Still too early.
Still too early for complaints.
Too early in my life.
Too early in my life for me to complain. What the fuck am I complaining about? Yeah, it should be like, I be having to think a little harder. But I'm not about to, we done with the complaints and complaining about shit, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm feeling today, you feel me?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm feeling
let's get into it, because that got me all nice and warmed up.
That got you warmed up?
That got me nice and warmed up.
Well, let's get into it. Like I said, today's topic on Season 2, bringing y'all Season 2, Episode 1. Season 2, Episode 1. Y'all getting a 2 for 1. 2 for 1. You feel me? But, we're going to go right into it, you know me?
Let's get it.
It's called Finishing the Job.
Finishing the Job.
I think that's so perfect, too.
Let's go.
For us to start off like this.
We're going to start the season with finishing the job. You know what I'm saying? I love it.
You feel me?
Finish the job.
So.
I wish I had one of those. I need one of those button presses. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I could, those sound effects of that bitch.
Right on. But, yo. A lot of people, like, I want to make sure everybody understands, right, and grasps that all of this is opinion. So even, like, it's like, it's a lot of this is opinion. A lot, not all.
I'll go a step further. I'll go a step further to say that all truth is in context.
Okay. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because sometimes when people say something is your opinion and you're going through it, it's like, well, hold on, no, I'm really going through this. You know what I'm saying? It's almost, it can make people feel like diminished in a certain way. But for me, it's like this. It's like, truth is in perception. For example, like, what's a long time? Doesn't that depend on...
Depends on what we're timing, right. Who's timing and how we're timing.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you tell me, yo, I had to wait an hour for a milkshake, it's like, damn, that's a long time.
Right.
But if you tell me, yo, I got from here to California in an hour, I'm like, Damn. Right. So I think.
What the hell you did?
Right. So I think when it comes down to everything, it's the truth is in perspective and in context. So that's why we can still call it facts of life. Right, we can't call it opinions.
Oh yeah, no.
Right, that wouldn't really work.
Because it's our experience. Because it's our experience.
Right. It's what's going on.
What's going on? What's happening?
Within context.
Exactly.
So you may have a different truth, but you may be in a different situation.
Right.
So that your context is different, which means that two things can be right at the same time.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's just like how that's a whole nother time. Because I don't want to affect anyone, and like I don't want to offend anyone. So it's like, well, I already just said that, so y'all know I'm not trying to offend you. But it's like, in my opinion, it's like how people view the Bible. Mm-hmm. It depends on what we may all read the same scripture, but depending on what I'm going through in life, I may interpret it. That scripture. That's
the beauty of words.
At a different rate or
that's
a different way.
Words. As a person who composes multiple works of writing works, you know what I'm saying, from essays to speeches to songs. I'll tell you as far as this, when I'm writing something, I leave it there. I'm not asking you to interpret it the way I interpret it. Like that's not it's cool for me to write something and get the different feedbacks of I took this way and I took. That's the beauty, because I didn't even take it that way. Right. You know, when I'm writing it, I had an issue, but that's the power of words, you know, and that's the power of perspective. And you don't know that's the power of finishing a job.
And that's what I was gonna say. It's our opinions within our perspectives. That's how I was trying to put it. You know what I mean? But, so with that being said, though, right? Yeah. With that being said, when what happens, and this is for you, in your opinion, for you, what happens when you don't finish the job, like?
Oh man, for me personally,
what happens when you don't?
I'll start by saying I'm getting better at taking care of myself. And I say it to say because guilt is a strong energy, man. And like me personally, I love integrity, and I seek it. I seek it in other people because it makes me feel safe to know that you gonna stick to your word, not because of me. Like I don't want to make business deals and do agreements with someone who's going to stick to their word because of me. That's not enough. I need you because I'm not always going to be there. Like we all doing our own thing, you know. I need you to be accountable for you, you know. And so that's a big part of me. So whenever I didn't finish the job in the past, it was a lot of guilt. It was a lot of, you know, resentment toward myself about, damn, why didn't you just finish that? Now I'm learning how to take care of myself a little better. And so I've learned how to be not content with the results, being able to forgive myself and move forward in a way. But because funny thing is, because I'm more apt at doing that now, I actually finish the job more. Like it doesn't even get to that point now. Like it's weird. Like I don't even like. It's more. I'm more when I'm having the thoughts of damn, I don't really want to finish doing this. Sometimes the pyramids in the crib. You know, sometimes I'm supposed to read for an hour, and sometimes I get to like 53 minutes, and I just like, the book is almost like the chapter's almost done. I don't really want to start a new chapter.
Because you're like,
you know, but it's 7 minutes left. You know what I'm saying? So now what I do is this. It's weird. Like I'll finish the chapter and like go to another book and just skim read for 7 minutes. Like that way I got both done. Like there's a way to still finish the job. And now like, so to answer your question, what happened to me when I don't finish the job is usually, you know, negative feelings, things not being complete, and me not getting return business, if you will, right? Like I do business, right? So like at the end of the day, all right, cool. For example, how our situation first started off, what happened if I told you we're going to do it this day, and this day, and I only came through 1 out of the 3 days? What's the chances of you feeling like, I want to continue this next week, right? In my consulting job, like, you know, like if I tell you we have this meeting for this Zoom, and every Zoom we have, and I tell you I got 90 minutes of undivided time for you, but every 3 minutes I'm allowing my home life to be distracting our conversation. Yeah. You can't even you're not feeling like I'm being taken care of you as a consultant. Therefore,
that's part of
yeah, I gotta dedicate time.
It gets more complex. It's not just like what seems to be at surface.
And even as servers, right? So if I get your whole meal, right? how often do you servers forget the little things? But it's the finishing job. So I'll give you a meal. You order the burger. You get halfway through your burger, I still didn't bring the ketchup. Come on, dog. Finish the job. I'll give you a drink. I don't got no straw. I'll bring you dessert and I don't got no silverware. I give you coffee. I don't got no creamer or nothing. Finish the job. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and part of finishing a job is preparation. You know, because if you don't have all the tools in your basket necessary to finish the job, you're not. You know, so don't start something without getting all your tools. Like, that's what cooking taught me, at least. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something called mise en place. Like, I don't know. When I was in culinary school, we was doing French cuisine, and he said mise en place, and it stands for place for everything and everything in its place. And we was taught that we had to read our list, like read the ingredient list, the recipe list of what we about to make today, and then go to the pantry and gather every single ingredient on the list before you start anything. Like, that's how you cook. You supposed to get. He said, get everything you want to use. Put that all on this counter. Of course, it was a bigger workspace in your house, but it was an industrial kitchen. But get whatever, the whisk, the bowls, the pans, the seasonings, everything you want to use for this dish. Get it all out in front of you. So all you're doing is reaching. When you finish, put everything back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
real quick, like to piggyback off like what you were saying, like how you like the placing and like things like that. Like it's a little bit like what you said earlier, like with the server shit. It made me think about, like, when I think about that question, like what happens. And remember, the question is what happens when we don't finish the job. For us, like in our opinion, it's like I agree. Like it makes me feel incomplete. I feel super guilty.
Right.
And when you said about the serving thing, like the whole little ketchup, how many times where you get home?
Yo,
and this anybody who is serving,
you trying to lay down? You high and get everything.
But the person never thought about it. They still, and then you thinking, I feel guilty because they done tipped me hella good.
She still tipped me her 20%. I forgot something.
I'm thinking about like,
I wish I had the number.
I got it
to text you like, yo, listen, when you come back, I'm gonna make sure to catch up with the table for his hand, because you know we're human, so we do sometimes not finish the job not on purpose. You know, you gotta be. It's like but you
just it's like the little things is, and that reminds me each time when that one little thing pop up in my head. No lie, I always go back to my day. And it helps me rethink about my day.
Analyzing.
Yeah, because it's like,
because if you don't measure, you don't get better.
Yeah, because if I would have completed it, it wouldn't have bothered me.
Right.
But my subconscious is kicking in, where it's like, yo, you could be better.
Yeah.
So it's like,
here's one area, and I think that's what people, you know, that's such a powerful statement that you just said, because it happens to us all demographics, like all genders. You know, all financial backgrounds, like, because there's no such thing. Human capacity is unlimited, and so like it's not to be hard on yourself or to be negative with yourself, but to always find the little things to make you better.
Yeah.
You know, but if you don't understand how it's coming to you, you take it as negativity, right? Like some thoughts are just constructive. I always think like, yo, well, how can I do that better?
Yeah.
That's not a negative thought. It doesn't mean I'm unhappy with this with results necessarily. I could be ecstatic with the results, but it's like, well, if I did that,
the growth,
absolutely. And potential is unlimited as a human being. You know, like it always goes back to like I believe it's on my daughter's birthday. I believe May 19th, back in like 40 something or 50 something. I believe the dude broke the 4-minute mark for the mile. So before this, right? No one can run under 4 minutes for the mile, right? He broke it, right? Now, mind you, before he broke it, they was running a mile for like 100 years. For like 100 years, they was running a mile. But then he broke it. When he broke it, within the next year, like 60 people ran underneath the 400 mile.
It's that set that tone.
My point is that when your mind is unlocked to incapability. Once you see another human, everybody know people. We don't fear no man. We all know we all look at another man or another woman and understand like we're just all people, you know. But so when we see people, when we saw the first person get to $1 billion, and We just knew it was possible.
It's possible. Yeah.
That just drove us to do
Especially when you see someone of our complexion,
and that's why it's
and our demographics too. Like,
that's why it's important.
It's like that shit ring bells. That shit is so.
So that's what goes back to what we just said. Why it's so important to try to get better, because you don't. I got kids, right? They always watching.
Mm-hmm.
Like even when I think they picking up on my tendencies, or I'll stumble into a conversation that they're having between each other, and I'm like, ooh. They got that from me. Like I'll hear something they said in the speech pattern, like, damn, that's a lot of me there. You know what I'm saying? And it's a learn thing. Mm-hmm. And so what you got to understand is like we teach the world how to be better.
Yeah.
Every individual teach the world how to be better. You know what I'm saying? So instead of being so quick to jump online and shit to criticize others on how to be better, right. And display it. And
pardon me, not to cut you off. No, exactly where you're going is where I want you to go, bro. I got 2 more questions too.
Mm-hmm.
It might be kind of like 3 because the last one is like it kind of is gonna go into what we're gonna but the next question that we are gonna answer right away though is how do you feel when others don't finish the job? Now hold up, wait. I know I said we said right away, but I'm saying like what I mean by that. Go through. But because that's a
loaded question.
That's a loaded question, right?
Absolutely.
And then the other question I have is, how do you properly prepare to finish the job?
Like, how do I properly prepare? If another doesn't finish the job. Piggybacking off that, or two separate?
We could go into it. Depends. We could just
because that's cool.
It's cool. Like,
I'm gonna take it that way.
Maybe that's how I'm gonna break it down.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it that way.
2 and 2. So we had 3 questions for you, right? What happens when you don't finish the job? And for your opinion, this is from your perspective,
right? I
don't want to hear about nobody else's perspective when you think about these questions, like when you go to answer.
And make sure tell them what they can answer the questions that you asking in the comments.
Yeah,
like we love that. Like we love that. Like it's not just our experience.
And you can even give your voice if you don't feel like you can leave a voice. Like
leave a voice comment.
That's even better. We're gonna listen.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna hear your voice.
We might pull you on.
You never know. You might hear your voice one day on here. Like
might pull you on.
It might be something that you said that might spark another topic. You know what I mean? Because it's like I need to know. So it's like. What happens when you don't finish the job, in your opinion? And how do you feel when others don't finish the job?
Oof.
How do you properly prepare to finish the job when someone else doesn't finish the job and or when it's on you to finish the job?
Okay, so I'm going to tackle
how do you feel
that. How do you feel when others don't finish the job?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be honest.
That's what we want.
So it depends. I'm not gonna lie. It depends because my goal in life is to figure out who you are and trust you to be yourself.
Right.
Period. No matter what our relationship is. I don't care if it's just a work relationship. I don't care if I have to deal with you. My main goal is to figure out who you are just by yourself because you was who you was before I got here, and then trust you to be yourself. Whether I like it or that's none of my business. You know what I'm saying? It's just this is how you are. Why should I expect you to change until I see different? So. If it's agreed upon if something is agreed upon, if we have an agreement and you don't finish the job, I'm upset. I'm upset for a couple of different reasons. I'm upset because I know most likely whatever I asked you to do, I could have done myself. So accountability, guys, is like, why? I go back to myself always, and it's like, yo, did I ask this person to do this job because they're better at it than me, or because I simply didn't want to do it? Because my goal, my whole thing in my head is do what I do best and delegate the rest. Because I believe because I believe people do what they do, and if I believe that I'm a master at what I do, then I gotta believe that somebody else is the master at what they do. So I'm not, and I don't do that.
That's for them.
My point. So if it's not like that, and if it's with open communication, I could be understandable. Or if it's unprompted, like for example, let's say we live together, and we never talked about cleaning rules.
I like
that. That's why I said, because it's different sometimes if we never spoke about it. We never said per se, this is how I want this to be looking when I come home, whatever it could be. And I just happen to stumble on something that looks to me like the job's unfinished. That to me is an open time. I've learned it's communication. It's open time to have a talk now. It lets me know that we're not communicating on the highest level, so something's being exposed.
You have to have a talk.
Yeah, but to me, it's like it's not fair for me to then if we haven't spoke about it, it's unfair for me to just expect you to know my standards. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, so like that's why I said if you don't finish the job and it's something that we didn't have, like it's just like in my head, this is how I would finish the job, because sometimes that's how life is. Like you go into something like I wouldn't have did that shit like that at all.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like I would have boom, made sure this was. But if we didn't speak about the nitty gritty and we didn't go into details, then it's just time. It's like, okay, well, this is a perfect time to have a discussion because we're not on the same page. You know, and that doesn't mean that things is wrong or things are bad. It just means that it could be better. Because if we cool with how we are now and we're not on the same page, dope. Imagine when we get on the same page, like what kind of effect that's going to be. Yeah. So the second part of that question is you got to now.
No. So hold on, I'm gonna answer that too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna give my opinion.
I didn't know if you want me to go on three.
No. We're gonna go back and forth. Yep. I just wanted our listeners to know what we're going into and what we're like. You know what I mean? I just wanted them.
So you gave them a preview.
Yeah, I wanted them just definitely be a part of this. So it's like they can think of everything and see where we're going.
You were a hell of a maestro. Orchestrating shit behind the scenes.
You know, so it's like for me, that question again is, how do you feel when others don't finish the job?
Right.
And this is something where I feel like sometimes I struggle with. And I say that because my problem sometimes I definitely have to learn, like it's like what you said. And it's something that, as I was thinking about my thoughts, is, you know, I'm gonna share with y'all what I was saying, but I want to say that when you said about the whole, like, well, what did we talk about, this and that, I have to learn as you were saying that, what I have to learn for me is like, I get annoyed when people don't do their part and finishing the job. I get so annoyed.
It's frustrating.
And it's like, for me, what I have to realize is like, it's okay. At times. It depends on, like you said, now the accountability. Like I have to learn for me. Like I'm not perfect, right? So for me, I have to learn that I have to take more accountability within myself. It makes me better. You know what I mean? So it's like, if I go and I first think, and with accountability, it's a first thought. So it's like, okay, like you said, so what am I expecting from them?
Right.
What are my expectations and where did they come from?
Yeah, that right there. That's big.
So it's like
it's big in every interaction between humans, because if we miss track of that, we get like slightly entitled about certain shit without even realizing.
But when I first thought about this question, and that's why I love this podcast. Like that's what I love about this. Like, is because when I first thought about this question, that was my first thought. Is what I just told you. You know what I mean? So it's like now listening to your thing, I was like, how do you feel when others don't finish? Fucking annoyed. Fucking annoyed. The fuck, man?
No, I get it.
Like,
because I have my days, bro.
I'm like, little job.
That's famous. That's my famous line. You had one job.
Even if I go into, because I tell y'all, we take a lot of stuff from our personal life and think about what we go through. It's like when I'm at work, when you don't take, okay, here's my thing, right? Ketchups, right? Y'all know the Heinz 57, the jars, the bottle ketchups.
The classic joints.
The classic joints, the old school throwback joints. Now, if it annoys me already when you just take the ketchup out of the box and put it into the fridge without taking the plastic off. That already annoys me. Now, what goes a further notch of fucking annoying the shit out of me is when you take the plastic off, but you only take it off from just like this and leave it around the neck.
I'm sorry, y'all. That laugh is obnoxious, but I know exactly.
What's the fucking point?
I'm laughing because we work together and I know exactly what you're talking about.
What's the fucking point? So why didn't we fit? So, and you know why I get annoyed? Because I get annoyed that my problem is I'm always thinking about others before myself, and that's why I have to learn to take myself accountability first. So when I get annoyed, I'm realizing I'm more frustrated for you. But if you don't give a shit, why am I putting all this time and energy on you not finishing the job? The problem is because real quick, because depending on who you are, I get annoyed because I know you have it in you, and it's But did we ever talk about me being that person to be annoyed at you because I need to? Did we ever talk about me helping you and have we ever kind of had that talk of
opportunity for communication?
Yeah, so it's that's what I gotta
frustration really is.
That's what I have to learn.
It's a sign.
That's what I have to
You just might have to take a moment. What I've learned in my life is every time I'm frustrated, it's a sign that I need to communicate. Or I need to receive communication that I'm not receiving, right? But you have to be in a proper mode to do that correctly. And so if you get frustrated and you realize you need to take a moment, sometimes you need to communicate with yourself. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. When people are like, yo, so you might catch me at work talking to myself. Literally, out loud.
Yeah.
And listen, I know people might, I don't even care how y'all feel. Because what you think about me is none of my business. But let me tell you why.
Feel how you feel.
But let me tell you why. You ever do some math problems, right? If I say 2 + 2, you can say what?
4.
Move, right?
Right.
Or I say, 4 times 4, you can say what?
You said 4 times 4? Yeah. 16.
Right. See how quick that was?
But
if I say 2,960 times 155.
That's one thing. When you say math, bro, the way I add things, you could just say 12 plus 15. My brain is going to be 12. All right, 12 and 5. I'm breaking it down.
But look, here's what I'm saying though.
But I'm saying it out loud.
My point. That's fine. Here's what I'm saying though. That's still considered mental math.
It is.
But if I say 2,647 times 448.
I'm pulling my phone up. I ain't going to hold you.
Or if you didn't have a phone, you would pull out some paper.
Oh yeah,
you can still get to it with paper.
Oh yeah. But
so
that's
so
I was thinking about phone. But
sometimes in my head, so that's how I explain talking to myself. Sometimes in my head, the conversation is too complicated. So I just I can't do that mentally. I can't do that math. When I say it, I could easily. Once I say it out loud, heard that. That makes sense. That doesn't. Get that out of here. Right. I start Tony. I call it Tony Stark and shit. You know when Iron Man downstairs in the basement, he just be moving shit. That's what I be doing. But I see it. It's weird. When I say things, I guess I'm. The vision. I can see the words is weird, and I'm like, okay, no, that don't fit. That's not what I really mean. I'm not communicating that right. I'm tripping on this, but I'm right about this, and I need what do I really want is this. Now I know, because if we don't have an objective in the conversation, you'll lose it.
Fact.
If my objective in the conversation is to win.
So listen, so that's going into how do you properly prepare to finish the job?
So
that's the last question we're going.
Properly preparing to finish the job is first knowing the whole job to its entirety. That's a big part of and then when I say knowing the whole job to its entirety, it's it all depends on. No, it doesn't all depend on. Because knowing the job to its entirety means that the finishing is an expectation that one or more parties can agree on. Whether that's you agreeing with yourself, or you're completing this in terms of another agreement with another person for compensation, or whatever the case may be. We have an understanding or expectation of how the end project should look. Correct? So being very clear on that is how you prepare that. Some people start things and they're just not clear. Sometimes even when I'm talking to my clients, I say, with all due respect, can you repeat that for clarification? Or can you break this down? Or what do you mean by this? And what I'm saying is that because if you think one way that this is supposed to, I say I want a landscaping job, right? And I'm like, I want the grass cut, about, medium length, you know what I'm saying? I want the hedges trimmed with a round curve to it, right? And I just want all the weeds around the edges gone, right? Now, what if your determination of medium length is 5 inches is -3? Do you just know what I'm saying? Something as simple as that could be the difference of what I feel about the end product as the person that's paying you, and how you feel about the end product as the person who's doing the service. So finishing the job is just being really clear. If the person says, and I hear some service all the time that's I don't want to say it, but some people say that if you are asking me for a coffee, you should tell me how you want it. I think that's silly because it's my job to provide you this coffee right now, right? So in order for me to serve you the best way, I would like to know the best way you would like it. So no, that's what I'm saying. I should.
Yeah, like
I shouldn't leave the table without that clarification, because if I have to now,
do you want it black?
Because if I have to make now 2-3 trips, whose fault is that?
I would say that's on you.
Right, because I didn't finish the job in the first place, so it made me not be able to finish the job totally. So the first part of finishing the job is finishing the job of the clarification of what's expected of the total task.
Right. So, but the question is like, how can we like help, or how can we prepare to finish the job? So it's like, and I think you were saying it too. It's the fact of focusing in on the small little micro stuff. You know what I mean? Zoning in on the little things.
Knowing the procedure.
And yeah, definitely knowing the procedure. That's first. Is knowing the procedure.
And that's I guess that's what I meant when I'm saying like, because if you know the completion, what it's supposed to be, at least how my mind does it, I work backwards. Like I'm like, this is what I need. Okay, well, what is it going to take to get this part and this part? Because then cause and effect is going to work for itself.
Right.
So if I get this, it's going to affect this, and so I work backwards, and then I come up with a procedure if I write it down.
Right.
Steps 10 to 1, and then I start 1 to 10. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that's just.
It's kind of like I kind of realize it's kind of like, how do you get dressed?
Literally, even pick out your clothes.
Yeah.
I do pick out your clothes.
Talking about that.
Yeah.
Like,
you don't pick it. Do you pick out? I mean, maybe you do.
But everybody, I mean, I know, I understand that everybody does it differently.
Yeah, but you have your procedure.
The way you do it. The way you do it.
Right, and you don't venture off from that.
I think on preparing yourself to finish the job is that too. Like, it's like, it's that. That's also the small little stuff. Like, it's the procedures of getting everything together and knowing. First, you gotta hold yourself accountable.
1,000% accountability.
Hold yourself accountable for every reaction that's going to occur.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yes, 1,000%. And I mean, a lot of that just means, even if it means relying on someone else that they finish the job. All of it that occurs.
All of it occurs
from the origin.
Exactly.
You know, from the root of what's going on.
Exactly. So it's like you gotta first, like you get that. So it's like I think the first step, again, is figuring out the procedure, figuring out the plan.
Right.
You know what I mean? And leaving room for oops or uh-oh.
Backstops. We
talked about that. So it's like, when you're doing this, you gotta, like, because that's the full control of finishing the job. It means there's no matter what's going to happen,
right.
I'm going to finish it. Like for LeBron James, let's use LeBron James. He's a basketball player, right? Mm-hmm. How long since he was in high school, he knew he wanted to be a basketball player, right?
Yeah, and now his ultimate goal is to play with his son.
And what is he doing to finish the job?
To make sure he's making sure his body stays in prime condition of shape.
You know what I'm saying? He got a full plan.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and what you said about backstops, just to explain to them, because a lot of people don't know, like, that's like, if you're going someplace, how do you know you missed your turn? Like, think about it. We're driving, right?
Right.
There's a landmark somewhere. You're like, oh, if I'm seeing this, I definitely drove too far. That's what we mean by backstop. Just set it up so you know, just catch yourself. But wait for you to catch yourself, because then you can always turn yourself back around. And you're only one decision away. But go ahead.
So no, that's what it is. So it's like so that's another thing. So prepare that way. So it's like so you already got your plan. Mm-hmm. You already got your little room, your wiggle room, or whatever they call it, right? Wiggle room, right? So now you also have I want to say, like, how can I explain this?
A tracker.
Like, yeah.
Because you got to keep track of it.
That's what I say. You definitely have to have measurements, right?
Yeah, because you want to, like, you have to see if, like, I do, for me, like, I got big goals for the year. I got crazy 10-year goals, and they break down to what I need to do per 5 years, and then within years, every 100 days, I check on them, right? Because it doesn't mean I can't get there, but maybe I over-assumed or under-assumed. Like you can say, like, I want to save 10K in these 90 days, but if I get to the 90 days and I'm up 12, well, then I know, okay, well, I undershot my goal. So the next quarter, let's go to 15.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and then,
so
if I get there and I'm only at 7, I'm like, okay, if 7, how was it? Did I fool off with some of this money? Like,
you know what we could call that?
What's that?
So, all right, boom, we got it. I got it right now for him. You're gonna create your procedure, right? you're gonna create wiggle room.
Your backstops,
Backstops, right? And yeah, I don't want to call it wiggle room because I want us to understand what that is. So we're gonna create. So we create our procedures, backstops, and then we're gonna call it illustrations.
Which are visual pictures of where you should be, and if you're not there, how you can correct yourself.
However you want to illustrate that,
right?
Through words, through pictures, but you gotta have your illustration. So that's your illustration is gonna make you create that and write it down and see it. Because once you see it, that's when you start believing it. Seeing is not believing, right? That's what we all say.
I mean, yeah, but, we right there.
Yeah. But yo, I definitely want to leave out that I want to hear your responses, the feedback. Please give us your feedback because it's like this was like really cool, like getting into this and like finishing the job. And it's like before we go, because excuse me, y'all know it's about that time. But before we go, I want to say like even preparing and finish the job on producing this stuff for everyone here, like even this way, like we said, this is our first episode doing it where not only are the folks that's and just so everybody knows, shout out to everybody who's been rocking with us with just audio.
The season ones, you know what I'm saying? The pioneers, the first hearers.
Now this is the first time where we're giving it to you where you're getting audio plus us. Like you know, you get to visually see us, and that's what it is. It's like,
but like let us know what else, let us know what else is. What's up with it?
But it also took us to finish the job.
Oh yes, we
just finished the job.
To make this happen, so but we planned. We definitely planned. Listen, we had what's crazy? Procedure. Yeah, I'm about to say we
made backstops.
We did the vision,
and then we also did the illustration for it.
And then we last step is execution.
Yeah. We didn't even get to the last one. My fault.
Because you have to execute. You got to execute.
That's the final one. Is execution.
That's it. Finishing.
Right.
I just love it.
Shout out Mortal Kombat. Shout out to Mortal Kombat. Yeah. But y'all already know. Appreciate y'all for rocking with us. Definitely
all love. Peace, love, and Rice Christmas, man.
Yo, definitely peace. I think they got the little ooh in me. You feel me? But nah, yo, I always told y'all I'm gonna start leaving y'all with what I say, peace, love, and I would say peace, love, and Godspeed. You feel me? Whatever you believe in or whatever you feel. But
we don't matter what you call them, just call them.
Yeah, we are all.
It don't matter what you call them, just hit them up.
But shout out to y'all, and we holla at y'all, man. Thanks for rocking with us.
We're the remote.